The last video overran, so I have today set myself the more manageable goals of getting animals and moving my gubbins. And I'm going to get started right now with moving animals into my lovely pen that I created at the end of the last video. There they are, all four of them there. And I think all I need, do I have any on me? I do, is some wheat. So if I locate a little animal for me to collect, I will quickly go and pop it into a what's it majiggle? A pen. Now this is the first time since starting doing videos that I haven't um even looked at the last one before making the next one. So this, I believe, is video number 6. And I haven't yet looked at video number 5. I haven't edited it. I haven't listened to the audio or looked at the visuals. I've done nothing. So normally what I do is I think, oh, this didn't work well before. What can I do to make it better? Whereas this time, I don't know what I did badly before. I don't know what I did well before. So I'm a little bit in the dark, you could say. Although I do remember that there we are, you're following me now. I do remember that I didn't really like the last video. I rambled. I know that I need to cut off a little bit about me talking about Doctor Who because I speak about it in such an incoherent manner that I couldn't understand what I was saying as I was saying it. And I'm going to have chickens, cows, pigs and sheep. Sheep is last alphabetically, so let's pop the sheep here. What was I saying? Ah, this was easy. Yes. I meant to talk about Doctor Who last time because it's the 60th anniversary soon. In goodness me, only about a month and a half. So time is flying by. But this means that as a massive Doctor Who fan, as even you could call me a Whovian, I I think that it would be lovely if I discuss Doctor Who, since I do, after all, love it so very, very much. And last time, oh no, I should have done this before. Look at this. Um, let's make sure I got 2 cows and at least 1 sheep. There we are. Oh dear. Last time I rambled and I tried to talk about the fact that the Celestial Toymaker, um, who is a character from a William Hartnell story, so from the 1960s, and do beware of these spoilers, is returning in the 60th anniversary and will be played by Neil Patrick Harris. And that made me think about how excited I am about classic Doctor Who being referenced and brought back in a new Doctor Who. And since the last video, I have written a list of some of my favourite Doctor Who stories from each Doctor Who. And, oh dear, this is going to be a bit of a pain. Right. I'm just going to close this gate and this cow can come here. Okay. Yes. Because I rambled so incoherently last time, I decided to write a list with my favourite classic Who stories. And for those of you who do not know, which will probably be my one viewer, classic Doctor Who is from its birth in 1963 until its cancellation in 1989, and then it was brought back in 2005, the year that I was born. A wonderful year, apart from all the terrible things that happened. And it is still continuing to this day in 2023. And if you can do maths, you know that 1963 plus 60 is 2023, and so it is our wonderful 60th anniversary this year. And I much prefer the older stuff to the new stuff. You may be unsurprised to hear that I prefer old things to new things, considering I am here playing an old version of Minecraft. And so I've only written a list for my favourite old Who stories because they're the ones I'm more familiar with. And I just thought it's something that would be quite nice to discuss. At least I find it quite nice to discuss. Now, the first Doctor, who was played by William Hartnell, who is a man that I would probably not like in real life, but I really like his doctor. His favourite story of mine is The War Machines. And The War Machines was made in either 65 or 66. I think it was, yeah, it was 66. And it's about the post office tower, because that was when, it's now the BT tower, but that's when the post office tower, You're in the Way, was built. And so they decided to make a story about it. And Doctor Who and his companion Dodo, who is, I think, my least favourite companion ever, appear on the scene, and they find that this kind of evil supercomputer Wotan has been creating these war machines, and eventually they capture one, and it's all very exciting, and it introduces two of my favourite, well, not two of my favourite companions, but my favourite companion dynamic, well, one of my favourite companion dynamics of Ben and Polly. It introduces those two. It's a great story, one of the few of his time that was set in modern day Earth, and I think it's absolutely great. And it's one of the first 5 classic Doctor Who stories that I ever watched, and so I have a certain nostalgia for it. The first 5 classic Who stories that I watched in their entirety, well, not even in their entirety, because I didn't finish one of them, were, let me think, The War Machines, Power of the Daleks, Genesis of the Daleks, The 5 Doctors, Time and the Rani, and, so Mark of the Rani, and Time and the Rani, if you know those ones. Those were the first 6 that I ever watched, and I know that The War Machines was in the first 5, and some of those stories are good, some of those stories are bad, but I think that The War Machines is a really good one, and if you get the chance, go and watch it. It's really good fun. And then the second Doctor, I feel like I'm doing like a Watch Mojo top 10 list, but I have been saying for ages that I need to make notes about what I'm going to talk about, because I end up having no clue. And I have made notes, so you're going to have to deal with the fact that I sound semi-scripted. Pig, do you want carrots? Oh, you want carrots, don't you? Right, okay. Well, I'm not going to be getting any pigs today, I don't think. Unless I can push it along, which I can't. Okay, that'll be a problem for another day then. But my second Doctor story that I really like, who was played by Patrick Troughton from 66 until 69, he had loads of good stories, more than Hartnell, I would say. And my favourite of his was The Mind Robber. And I may, if I talk about my favourite Troughton stories in the future, change my mind. I may say The Invasion, or I may say The War Games. But I think the one that I choose to introduce my friends to is The Mind Robber. I just think it's great. It's trippy. It's wonderful. It's so weird. It doesn't outstay its welcome. The first part is the best part, and while I say that, watch the rest of it, because it doesn't go downhill from there. It just kind of plateaus a little bit. It gets slightly boring during episode 4, but then towards the end you get that fight scene, and it's magnificent between I think I'm going to start moving my gubbins now, because I can't find any other animals at the moment, but you get that magnificent fight scene between of all people, one of the 3 Musketeers and Cyrano de Bergerac. That was it. It's bloody insane. It doesn't make any sense, except it does, within the confines. Oh, bloody hell, bloody hell, bloody hell, bloody hell, bloody hell, bloody hell. Why is my Xbox game bar up? Sod it, 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 sod it. Bloody hell. Okay. Video settings, full screen on. The Mind Robber is really good. That's what I was trying to say. It, as I say, is like ridiculously trippy. I can probably do this in a more systematic way. It's stupidly fun and insane and wacky, and I just love it oh so much. It's great fun. And I remember I was on holiday with my friends once. I tried to get them to watch City of Death, which is another amazing story. It's the one by mostly Douglas Adams, um, even though he's not credited, so it's a little bit unclear. But it's the one by Douglas Adams, and it's great, but nobody wanted to watch City of Death. But then one of my friends, we got drunk and we watched the Mind Robber, and we didn't get around to finishing it. It got far too late, but she absolutely loved it. She thought it was great, and we are going to finish it at some point. And so the Mind Robber holds a special place in my heart for that. But I loved it already because it's so good fun, such good fun. What's next? The Third Doctor. And if you know Doctor Who, you will have realised that when I was talking about my first 6 Doctor Who stories, his was the one that I didn't mention, because for some reason I never got a my first Doctor story. I only watched one of his episodes. I knew I would like him because I love his outfits. He wears outfits very similar to what I like to wear. Or frilly shirts and velvet coats and capes, which are all things that I genuinely wear because, I don't know, I have a very strange sense of style. But the Third Doctor, absolutely brilliant, love John Pertwee. But I only watched one of his videos after The Legend of the Sea Devils was announced, which is a very bad Jodie Whittaker story. And let me think. And so I went back and I watched The Sea Devils, so I knew what The Legend of the Sea Devils was building up on. The Sea Devils is my favourite John Pertwee story. At least I say it is, because it's got nostalgia and it's the one I revisit most. And the soundtrack is so cool. I remember, because I didn't really know 70s Doctor Who when I started watching it, I said to myself that if all the 70s, if all the John Pertwee stories have this stupid soundtrack, I would hate them. But if it's only this one, then I will love the story for it. And I'm pleased to say it was only that one. So I love the story for it. I think it's absolutely great. And I've now done my gubbins, both my tasks, so I'm just going to see if I can get any more animals or any eggs. Do I have any eggs in here? If I do, they are very well hidden. So yes, The Sea Devils is what I claim to be my favourite John Pertwee story, because it's the first one that I saw. I love it. It's such good fun. Although Inferno and Ambassadors of Death are both great as well. Let's power through these now, because I'm taking time, and there were other things I wanted to talk about. I only planned to discuss this as filler, and it's ended up being the entire story. Not story, the entire video. Okay, so very quickly. Fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, longest serving, seems to be a bit of a meanie in real life, but once again, really good Doctor Who. And in terms of him, my favourite story of his is, what did I write? IoT. What does IoT stand for? Invasion of Time, that was it. Invasion of Time. Which is one that I was really surprised to find out is one of the most hated Doctor Who stories, and this is going to become a bit of a theme. I bloody love Invasion of Time. I don't know if it's my favourite. I kind of made this list in, I wouldn't call it a rush, but going off instinct. So I may have neglected to think of a certain one or two. I didn't neglect to think of Genesis of the Daleks, because I don't like Genesis of the Daleks. I'll talk about that at a later point, I'm sure. I know, sacrilege to say that, but hey, it is what it is. I'm not a big fan of Destiny of the Daleks. I know I'm wrong. It's got everything that I love in a Doctor Who story, but I just find it dull. I don't like the execution. Except for the execution scene, I do like that. But I'm claiming that Invasion of Time is my favourite Fourth Doctor story. For one, it features Leela, who is great. I mean, to be fair, most of the Fourth Doctor's companions are excellent, but Leela's wonderful. It also features Gallifrey, And while my favourite version of Gallifrey is, you know, like the War Games version, where it appears to be this most um, omnipowerful force, I do also really like its portrayal in Invasion of Time. When it's vulnerable, they end up having such hubris that they believe that nothing can get through their defences. I think it's wonderful. Um, Come on, pig, you know you want to. No, you probably don't. You know you don't want to, but come anyway. I love how it feels like a four-parter. And once I got to the end of the fourth part, I thought, is this actually a six-parter? This feels like a four-parter. It's all feeling all conclusiony. And then, and spoilers incoming, and then we get the Sontarans. And I know that the bit where the Sontaran trips over a chair is ridiculous, but aside from that, I love it. I love how manipulative they are. I love the Castellan and how he responds. I love going through the TARDIS, and I love the fact that it just looks like a normal hospital. Um, they wouldn't do that today, and I wish they would, because it's a good blend of silly, but also it makes sense. You know, you can believe that you have the big fancy um, control room, and I've not ever been over here before. It's quite nice, isn't it? You get the control room that's all fancy and all roundly, but then you get all these corridors, and they all look the same, and it's all a bit dingy, and it's a bit mind-bendy, and I think it's wonderful. It's great. Love Invasion of Time. I know that I'm wrong for loving it, but I don't care. Next up, the Fifth Doctor. I'm kind of cheating with this one because I could have gone for Caves of Androzani, which I don't like as much as other people do, but I do actually like it, unlike Genesis of the Daleks. I could have gone for Enlightenment, I could have gone for Morgan Undead, I could have gone for... Oh, and I always get Terminus and the other one. I'm talking about the other one that sounds a bit like Terminus. Stuck in my head. But the one that I'm going for is the Five Doctors, because once again, it's the first one I was introduced to. It's what made me really excited to learn about classic Doctor Who. And it's just outright a good story. It's why I love Power of the Doctor so much, because it's basically New Who does the Five Doctors. We get Patrick Troughton, we get John Pertwee, we get a little bit of Baker and a little bit of Hartnell, we get Richard Hartnell doing a wonderful first Doctor, and so many companions come back. Susan comes back. It's brilliant. I love it. And we get Turlough, and I love Turlough. Turlough's brill. Turlough deserves more love. Um, and then moving on, because I'm trying to be quick now. We've got... Oh, sorry, another thing about the Five Doctors that I love. It's something that my, at the time, friend, now somebody who I can't stand, but the person who got me into Doctor Who really liked. And I remember watching him watch that and thinking, oh, I can't wait to watch that for myself. And so when I did, it was kind of like a little dream come true moment. How lovely. And then I'm really trying to be quick. The Sixth Doctor, luckily he doesn't have much content, so I didn't have to think long and hard. And I love half of what he does, and I hate half of what he does. Well, no, that's not true. I love everything that he does, but I don't like all the stories. And specifically, I love season 22. It's my favourite classic Who season. And I hate season 23. It's my least favourite classic Who season. Um, and there were three in particular, three in a row in season 22 that are my top favourites, which are Vengeance on Varos, Mark of the Rani, and the Two Doctors. And I know that I've just done one multi-doctor story, but I'm going to have to go for the other one here. Because, and I need to find an egg or a chicken. This is driving me up the wall. I've done my second task in this time. What was I saying? I love the Two Doctors. I love how it gives us a bit of season 6B lore. Not everyone likes season 6B, but I think it makes sense because it is like the Time Lords to mess about with the Doctor. I love Jamie and Perry. They work so nicely together. I was initially really excited to see 6 and 2 spend a lot of time together, but on reflection, I do actually quite like how they only are with each other for the duration of for part 3. And it's great. So I'm saying that the Two Doctors is my favourite. Vengeance on Varos and Mark of the Rani were close seconds, but it had to be the Two Doctors. And then finally, I'm going to make my way home now because I'm going to end the video. I'm going to accept the fact that I don't have any chickens. But finally, Seventh Doctor, another unpopular choice, much like the Two Doctors and Invasion of Time. I'm going to say Paradise Towers. I'm not joking. when I watched Paradise Towers, it was after Time of the Rhine, so I was instantly happy that it wasn't that bad. Um, it features Mel, who I don't hate as much as other companions, sorry, as much as other people do. I'm glad she came back for Power of the Doctor, and I'm glad she'll be playing a bigger part with Ncuti Gatwa. Um, and let me just see what my coordinates are in case I die. There we are. Um, and I love just the whole vibe. I love how bizarre and weird it is. It's a bit like a tower block does the Mind Robber. It's so weird and it's not perfect, and I think it could have concluded a little nicer, but it's really good fun. I wish that more early McCoy era stuff was like it. I mean, Delta and the Bannermen we get afterwards, which I also love and is also hated by many. It features some songs that it features Lollipop and it features Puffing Billy, which are two songs from my childhood that I didn't expect to see in Doctor Who. Love Dalton and the Bannermen. I'm also a big doo-wop fan, and doo-wop features in that. So Dalton and the Bannermen was the second. I also like the vibe of Dragonfire. I like the cliffhanger, but I didn't like it as much as the other two that I mentioned. But of my favourite McCoy season, which is season 24, very unpopular opinion though, I know that I'm wrong to think like that, but it's how I think. But out of season 24, um, what it has to be my favourite, Paradise Towers. Not to say that late McCoy things are bad. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Survival, and I'm not a big fan of um, Greatest Show in the Galaxy, but everything else I think is good from McCoy's era. But what I said, that one is my favourite. But that is my Doctor Who list complete. Um, I'll be surprised if anybody watched this video because it's a combination of old Minecraft and old Doctor Who. So niche, um, a very niche little, well, a niche video that I've created here that I think only myself would want to watch. But after all, I am making these videos for myself. Um, But moving on, I just said that I'm a big doo-wop fan, and this was another thing that I really wanted to talk about today. And is that a creeper? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, let's run away. Um, the other thing that I wanted to discuss was a really sad thing, and that is that Larry Chance has died. And you will not know who Larry Chance is probably, but Larry Chance was the lead singer of the doo-wop band called the Earls. Um, and they did a song called Remember Then, and it goes remember, 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 remember then, remember then, and it's good fun. Um, and they did all sorts of songs, and I really liked the Earls. And the thing is, not many doo-wop singers are still alive, and I liked the fact that Larry Chance was still alive. He was cool, and he died on. I looked it up. I believe it was either the 4th or the 6th. I think it was the 6th of no, the 4th. It was the 4th of December. In fact, no, I won't check. It was the 4th of December. I'm sure not December, September. If I've mistaken that, I will amend it in the video description. But I remember it was definitely 6 days before my first video uploaded that he died. And so he never got to live in the world with my bad Minecraft videos. But the point is, one, I'm really sad about it. I mean, he lived until he was 82. He lived a good life, but it's still sad. And secondly, and yes, I did see that creeper out of the corner of my eye. Secondly, it's been a month, not even that, since he died. And so much in my world, and in the world in general, has changed since then. Um, I mean, we've had, there we are, there's my land. I walked further than I realised. We've had my entire world that I've been creating and having fun doing. Um, we've had, look at everyone behind me, cool blimey. I've started university, I've been gradually learning how to teach. I've been going through Doctor Who. I've done a lot, and the world has done a lot. I mean, think about the war in Ukraine. He never got to see the end of that. I mean, I've not yet seen the end of that, but he never will get to see how that ends up. He never got to find out about Oh, what was his name? But that MP who heckled Sorella Braverman. You never got to hear about that, which is insanely cool. Um, you probably can't hear because I do sound very male. Um, but I am trans. I am a trans woman. It's why I don't talk in my normal voice like this. It's why I talk in a more high-pitched voice, which is something I am working on. But he never got to hear about that Tory MP heckling the evil Suella Braverman for her transphobic views, and it's just the world happens so quickly, and it's something I need to remind myself, and it's something you need to remind yourselves too. Enjoy it. Enjoy it while it lasts. It won't last forever. And I wasn't planning on making that a segue, but I will. Speaking of things not lasting forever, this video is coming to an end. So thank you very much for watching. Um, I will hopefully see you in the next one, but if I don't, I really do not blame you. Have a lovely day. Doodle pip. Bye. 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 Bye.